It's time to talk about Meltan again.
Oh no, not again. The last time you did that, your theories wound up being totally wrong. Debunked at the very source. A Japan-only art book, when translated, specifies that Meltan is in fact made of gallium. Basically mercury, but not a toxic. None of this tantalum BS you came up with.
I mean, yeah, but it's only pointing out its tears, which are coming from its eye, which is a different color from the rest of it, so it's still possible. You know, the eye might be that, but that doesn't mean the rest of the body. Where have you been? It's like a year. It's been a year.
Oh, I've been busy learning the dark arts to help me review games. I can detach my head now.
Oh, that's cool. Can you show me?
No.
Well, alright. So, Meltan, it's back in my brain again because some weird things be happening. Google and Pokemon Home recently stroked the flames of an old question. Is Meltan a Gen 7 or a Gen 8 Pokemon?
And more importantly, does it matter? No, not at all.
The answer seems easy at first glance, but you'd be surprised. But you know what's not surprising? How many awards today's sponsor has gotten? NordVPN has repeatedly been awarded Best VPN of the Year awards, which is thanks in part to them having more than 5,500 super fast servers to get you the best internet unlocking service available. With NordVPN, you not only add extra security with double data encryption and no data logging, but you can make the internet think that you're somewhere that you're not. For example, my wife uses it to watch War and Peace and The Good Place as it airs, which is available for online streaming in the United Kingdom, but not the United States yet. Which is pretty dumb, honestly, but it is what it is, and thanks to NordVPN, you can make the internet think you are in the UK, no matter where you actually are. In fact, it even works in China, and works with peer-to-peer connections, and has this complicated bunch of letters, which basically means it's safe. And as we use a lot more internet as we stay home more, being safe is especially important. Maxwell knows, he lives there.
I do.
Plus, right now they are offering 70% off and an extra month free if you use the code Lockstin, so for sure take advantage of that by clicking the link in the description below this video. And thanks again to NordVPN. Alright, Meltan was revealed before Sword and Shield, so there's that. There's also the National Dex. Its number is 808. It's right after Zeraora, and the other Pokemon that were added to Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon after the fact. But the difference is that it was added much later. So much later, in fact, that it's not even in Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon. Rather, it was revealed in Pokemon Go. But then, that would mean it's not in any Gen 7 game, unless you count Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee as a Gen 7 game. I mean, it has Mega Evolution and Alolan variants of Gen 1 Kanto Pokemon, but otherwise it only has Gen 1 Kanto Pokemon. So there's even a case to be made for Meltan being a Gen 1 Pokemon, sort of retroactively retconned in. But that's kinda dumb, so we're not going to focus on that. But Meltan not being in the Sun and Moon games at all doesn't mean it hasn't been to Alola. In the anime, Meltan played a big role in the later episodes. Ash had one. But is this evidence of it being a Gen 7 Pokemon? Well, that depends. Is Togepi a Gen 1 Pokemon? Is Weavile a Gen 3 Pokemon? What about Lucario? Is Kecleon Gen 2? The anime pretty frequently features next-gen Pokemon in current-gen episodes. Sometimes even more than just cameos and one-offs, like Togepi was super important. Just like Meltan here. And sometimes the games even did this. Gale of Darkness was a Gen 3 game, but it has a Bonsly in it, a Gen 4 Pokemon. So Meltan being a special Pokemon in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee could be this sort of same thing again. But no, some say, it can't be Gen 8, because look at the National Dex, it's there before the starters. They're called the starters for the reason. They start the Pokedex of the region, but Gen 5's Victini is before the starters in the Pokedex, so that's not evidence against it either. That could sort of wind up being the case here. Perhaps just like Victini in the Unova Dex, Meltan is essentially a number 0 in the Galar Dex, but it evolves, so -1 and 0? That'd be dumb. Both 0? Also dumb. So what they did instead was, it's number foreign.
Plus, it's not like Game Freak hasn't done dumb things before.
Well, supposedly, the code supports the Gen 7 idea, but marketing and such suggests otherwise. Melmetal has a special Gigantamax form in Sword and Shield, and if you're the type of bozo that doesn't count Let's Go as a main series game, then Sword and Shield are the first mainline games that it's in, which would make it a Gen 8 Pokemon, does it not? No other Gen 7 Pokemon got a Gigantamax form. All of the Gigantamax Pokemon are either Gen 8 or Gen 1 or Garbodor. It's the exception to the rule, likely done for story reasons. And what hilarious reasons that was. I loved it. It's good.
Plus, it's pretty symbolic of London right now, ain't it?
But then came the Google Pokemon voting thing, which is an official partnering with the Pokemon Company. It's not some non-official thing Google asks you to do. It's an official partnership for this neato thing that they just did for some reason. Google asks you to vote on your favorite Pokemon of each generation, or more specifically, rather than ask about the generations, they categorize them based on region. Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, and so on. It's quite literally by generation, just without the word generation. And sure enough, Meltan and Melmetal were with the Galar Pokemon, so Gen 8. But the odd thing is, it doesn't list these as just Galar Pokemon. Rather, this section is Galar, etc., clearly referencing this Meltan situation with that etc. Because it's not an Alolan Pokemon. It was never in the Alola games, but it is in the Galar games, but also in a Kanto game. Huh. And more recently, Pokemon Home came out, and it too doesn't organize the Pokemon by generation, but by the region they originated in. And Meltan is at the bottom, in its own category, Unknown Origins.
Well, that's stupid. Shouldn't Ultra Beasts be there too? They aren't from Alola or anything.
Maybe the Pokemon Company is trying to get rid of the idea of generations altogether, and focusing more on Pokemon being from a certain region. I don't know. This really is Schrödinger's Pokemon. There is official evidence that supports both sides of the argument, and it wouldn't be the first time this has happened. Manaphy is a mythical Pokemon, but it's also not. Arceus is pronounced that way, Arceus, but it's also pronounced Arceus. Both from official sources. Heck, Pokemon, Pokemon. Pokemon, Pokemon. Both pronunciations from official sources. Pokedex entries even counteract each other sometimes. Magikarp can leap over mountains, but it also can only leap 7 feet. Araquanid drowns small Pokemon in its bubble, but it also cares and loves small Pokemon, and it protects them by putting them in its bubble. Vullaby's dex entry states up that it straight up cannot fly, yet it can literally learn the move Fly. Pokemon is full of contradictions. So all in all, it seems like labeling Pokemon as a certain generation is starting to matter less and less. And since games can easily be patched now, since they are on the Switch, I'm sure we'll have more and more Pokemon added way after the fact in updates. I mean, heck, that's what the Swish DLCs are doing. Granted, they are all old, cut Pokemon, but there are also some new ones. New Reggies, and new forms of legendaries. But at least those are clearly Gen 8 because they are in the main Gen 8 game, clearly, meaning Meltan is still a conundrum. So what do you think? Let me know down below. Unless what you think is that you don't care, in which point, why bother commenting anything then? That means you do care, you hypocrite.
Why bother watching a video about something you don't care about? You dumb.
Could you not call my viewers dumb, please? A hypocrite was mean enough. No wonder my viewers hate you.
Just you wait. You'll see.
And big thanks again to NordVPN for making videos like these possible. For 70% off, use the link below and the coupon code Lockstin.